Hello everyone, I'm Raghav and I have Anandi and Abhishek as a co-host for this event. Thanks for joining us today. So we are excited to explore, connect, learn and grow together at this special event. In a world that is increasingly shaped by AI, it is more important for us to better than ever to strengthen our core concepts. That's precisely the theme of today's event. Explore the core of cloud native, and let's. We would have a wonderful lineup of session planned for you today. Yeah. So before we dive into the agenda, let me introduce to our community. So for those who have already attended our event previously, you would have been familiar with us. So for the new attendees, welcome to GPEN, Global Platform Engineers Network. So who are we? We are a thriving community. So we are trying to connect global platform engineers professionals with the aim to share knowledge, exchange ideas, and dive into innovation to build the future of software development. So now that you know a bit about us, let me give you a glance of our past events or our journey. So where did we start? So we started as a small group within four in 2024, and since then we have hosted several events every quarter. We had our valued partners from M2P, SQ1, Unique, and now we are at Grid Dynamics. We are delighted to be here today, and a huge thanks to Grid Dynamics for arranging such a wonderful event here. So, what's in the store for you today? We have our honored guest of honor to provide a special message to us. And following this address, we will be having the sessions. The session one would be the environment as a service, presented by Nisha, followed by which Veera would be presenting workload APIs. And then we connect and network during this break. And we will move to the session 3, which is the governing Kubernetes at scale, which will be presented by Sai. So, and then for the first time ever, we are excited to host a fireside chat with our wonderful guests who will share their experiences and expertise with us. So then we will be concluding with group photo and lunch. So we encourage you all to actively participate and ask questions at each session, and share your ideas and innovation. And what else? Connect, learn, inspire, and grow. So I request Abhishek to welcome the guest of honor to the stage for his message.
Thanks for the opportunity, but I think I am not that qualified enough to welcome our guest of honor, right? So I'll welcome someone who gives me energy. He's a very energetic person, and he is the right person who can actually welcome our guest of honor. So I'll please welcome SN to come on stage and share a few lines and share some energy with the team.
Thank you. Morning, everybody. How's everybody doing? Doing good? First of all, thank you so very much for being here on Saturday. And it's weekend time, but still, it's also learning time. That's how I would put it. Before I go on to Rajiv, a few words about Grid Dynamics. We are a Silicon Valley-based organization, founded in 2006. Today, we are established ourselves in Americas, Europe, and India. In India, we started our journey in September 2022, and that was thanks to Rajiv, whose vision and leadership helped us establish our footprint in India. We started with Hyderabad, and very soon we established ourselves in Chennai, and the latest we have in Bangalore. So today in India, we are close to about 897 people and on the growth path. And I'm sure that you will find today's sessions very, very exciting, because we have always been hiring very highly skilled engineers. And we definitely feel that they can bring in a lot of value add and also take back home from what the others have got to share, especially from this wonderful organization called GPEN, which has taken the initiative to bring this particular, I would call it either a workshop or a small seminar today over here for all of us. All right, without wasting much time, I would like to take the wonderful opportunity to introduce Rajiv Sharma. Rajiv is the managing partner for APAC, and prior to this, he has served as the CTO of Grid Dynamics, a NASDAQ-listed company with headquarters in Silicon Valley. Rajiv comes with more than 30 years of experience in leadership and management, with a strong engineering background in artificial intelligence, enterprise architecture, product design, development solutions architecture, quantitative analysis, algorithms, and mathematical modeling. Prior to joining Grid Dynamics, Rajiv served as the Senior Vice President of Cognitive Digital Engineering at Pactera Edge, as the Chief Solutions Officer at Nest Digital Engineering. He has significant experience in creating scalable architectures and delivery frameworks that successfully integrate the UI design, AI/ML, cloud, and big data across multiple industries. In the early days of deep learning from 2018 to 20, he founded and led Nova IQ. Now look at that person's vision. A fully funded, specialized deep learning startup as its CEO, wherein he was instrumental in building enterprise-scale AI platform engineering implementation playbook for the financial and logistics industries. Well, it just doesn't end here, there's more. I do not know how many of you have actually gone through Rajiv's profile on LinkedIn, but if you do, you must have already known that Rajiv also served as a Lieutenant Colonel in the Indian Army. He has served in combat roles and as a senior rocket scientist and deputy project director of the very well-known Agni-3 missile program of Defense R&D organization in India. Rajiv was awarded the Scientist of the Year award for his work on design of Agni-3 solid rocket propulsion systems, and was also recommended twice for the Distinguished Service VSM at the national level. Please put your hands together for Rajiv. It still doesn't end, there's much more. Rajiv has authored the first user handbook for the Agni-2 missile system and was the course director for training the designated military units for operationalizing the long-range weapon system. He was also awarded the Army Commander's Commendation Card for controlling the riots in Bidar in December 1992. Rajiv also had the good fortune of working alongside with late Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Please give him a applause. He has a passion for learning, and after all this, he still had the energy to study further. Rajiv moved to the US and he did his graduate degree in management and systems design from MIT Sloan School of Management and the School of Engineering Systems. As a part of the program, he also studied public policy and general management at Harvard Kennedy School of Government and Harvard Business School. He has also a master's degree in space engineering and rocketry from PIT Mesra, Ranchi, and an undergraduate degree in aeronautical engineering. it still continues. He has recently been recognized by the CEO Insights magazine as one of the top 10 Indian CTOs in the global companies and is sought after as the CXO leader on the Wall Street. Digital technology circles and the private equity ecosystems in North America have always spoken very high about Rajiv. He has been featured in the Wall Street Journal and other prestigious magazines for his thought leadership on building enterprise scale cloud native intelligent digital platforms across industries. Now with this kind of a leadership, can Grid Dynamics ever go wrong? I don't think so. He enjoys writing poems and is a published author. His book on leadership and personal mastery is titled Intuitively Rational. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Rajiv Sharma. May I please invite Rajiv sir to please take the stage. Thank you, Rajiv sir.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Can I close the laptop, please? Can I close this? I will spare you any PowerPoints, yeah? Because good communication, good engineering doesn't happen here. Good engineering happens here. If you are sorted here, then good engineering will come through. As they say that if your inner auditorium is okay, then the outside world manifestation is always right. I'm very grateful to the mentors I had in my career. Every time someone reads my bio, I feel a little embarrassed because while the resumes, we have this culture of exalted resumes and presenting in forums, but we lose that this is a vector sum of many good leaders spending time on me and giving me the grooming that I had at a very young age. So everything happens with the grace and everything happens with the benevolent mentors. Right? So everything you read here, I think none of that credit goes to me. It goes to people who really took time, to shape me and guide me. Right? So with that out of the way, and firstly, I would like to thank GPEN for choosing Grid Dynamics as a venue. It's such an honor and privilege to host an engineering conversation for the young engineering crowd who are beginning to reshape the dialogue at our national level. 4 engineering companies known for this quality engineering for more than 200 years. And nothing gives me more joy to be a partner in this event representing Grid Dynamics. And thank you, Bala, for giving us this opportunity. Deeply appreciate it. Now, I did make some points, but sometimes, as I said, good dialogue happens, from here, not from some prepared notes. So I stick to these notes, and I have a problem that I can read the near things, but I can't. Now all of you are blurred, which is okay. This is okay. Now I think what is important is, we are standing at a very momentous journey in the history of humanity. The Industrial Revolution kind of tried to automate, focus on ergonomics, building assembly line platforms, which Ford was always famous for, and automating the muscular power of a human started with the Industrial Revolution. Today we are talking about automating human intuition and experience. This is a very different form. The AI we are talking today does not only assist, it has actually become an active voice. It does. So the entire experience of humans is now encapsulated in documentation, which is brought to the AI models through what we now call RAG pipelines. But that RAG pipeline is a pathway to capture human experience, to capture human learning, and encapsulate that in a machine, in a vectorized form that can be accessed at will more than all of us put together. And I think that makes it a very powerful archetype for humanity to move on. Now, there are clouds of doubts, talks about agentic platforms disrupting human jobs. But as Dennis Hassabis said, right, Dennis, the CEO of DeepMind, he recently said that there would be radical abundance. Like, for example, I recently told my CEO that at 5,000 engineers, we are a $500 million company, roughly, as a public company. We're a small public company. We can now achieve 10 times this revenue with the same workforce. Now, what does it mean? It doesn't mean we're not going to hire. It basically means that every engineer is now a force multiplier. And they can become productive, more potent, and also contribute more to the entire ecosystem of their organization while being assessed for their compensations appropriately in a commensurate manner. Now, the other thing I think I must tell you that, again, it was by Dennis Hassabis again, that when he said that the country of geniuses is sitting in the data centers. Right? A data center is the country of geniuses. And humans today don't compete with one another. We compete with compute power. Right? It's not a joke that Amazon and Microsoft are trying to build small modular reactors of 300 kilowatts, 300 megawatts, to power their artificial intelligence workloads in their data centers. And just to give you an idea of a 300 megawatt, it's basically 250,000 US households, or 2 million Indian households. It can power 2 million Indian households. So that is a small modular reactor, nuclear reactor. And retail companies and like Amazon and technology hyperscaler like Microsoft, they are now firing up in the next 3 to 5 years. They will have a number of SMRs. Right? And that should give you an idea about where we are headed as engineers. What does it mean to us? And I always focus on a couple of facts. And these are not my thoughts. These are thoughts come from my former boss and mentor, Dr. Kalam sir, that engineers have to think much bigger than the problems they are facing. The first principle of system design and enterprise architecture is, if you're stuck in a problem, always elevate the problem statement. Then the problem you're handling will appear different and appear surmountable. And that is an art and technique that takes time and practice. You can't read a book. You can't read a book on differential equations and design a rocket. It doesn't work like that. You can't do a workshop for 5 days and learn vector calculus and then start solving the equations of curl, divergence, and gradient. It doesn't work. Immersion, failures, learning from your own personal depressive moments, that is alone the only way to move forward as a strong engineer. And engineering is a discipline which is experiential. And that experience comes from not only from success, but from failure. When you are listening to my resume, I can assure you, you may be getting a feeling of a vertically rising career path. I've had my own moments of depression. I've had my own moments where I was responsible for failures of systems. Personal ego, personal hidden agenda. Forget the engineering part. Technology will never fail. Individuals always will. And that is why leadership in such different times is very, very critical. Today, in the age of AI, more than anything else, it is the soft power of human leadership, human vision, and human compassion, empathy, powered by courage, powered by the ability to take risks, that we will be able to build these platforms. I was recently in a conversation with a CEO and president of a large payment fintech organization. I have deep respect for that person. And generally in these forums, we get to share what we learn. So I would like to share what I learned from that dialogue. What the important point was that CEOs of organizations get to interact at very high levels with analysts who have a lot of information. Now, knowing something does not mean executing something, right? But knowing is a pillar. And individual learning does not guarantee organizational learning. But there cannot be an organizational learning without individual learning. So what he said was, unfortunately, we are approaching these systems of intelligence in a manner where we will use a smarter, faster co-pilot, a faster chatbot, a faster system that will give you a good RAG pipeline to uncover knowledge through a conversational AI. But the point is that if you solve the wrong process, even with the right technology, it's not going to yield you results. In my missile program, I had endless points where we really failed big time because we were applying our known assumptions to a problem not solved before. So even now, if you're approaching artificial intelligence with an application layer thinking, we might miss the forest for the trees. And what a good systems engineering, a good platform engineer is good at is the design of modularity and integrality of interfaces. How you design these interfaces, how much modularity, how much integrality. Do you need 10,000 agents or 5 agents? Do you need 50 microservices or 10 microservices? Can you take a monolith application, break it into microservices, and kill that simplicity and bring in complexity at the infra level and live with it? Now, can you handle that infra level complexity? Do you have the skills and talent to do that? In a monolith, everything was vertically integrated, right from presentation layer to the database. But do you have the skills to handle a very dynamic infra where you go pay as you use, auto scale? I can come from a time when I could not even auto scale a VM on Azure. This is 2018. And the Kubernetes engines just refused to auto scale. So we trained the model with some high compute and storage power. And then after the training, the models are very light. In those days, we used to train the models. Now you don't have to because somebody else is doing for you. All the models are now infra. All the models are commodity. They are available to you as API. You're using Cursor, you're using Perplexity or Anthropic, $5 for input, $25 for output. They are expensive. If you're using OpenAI, maybe you pay $5 or $3 for input and maybe $15 for the output. Remember, the prompt is charged for, the output response is charged for, the infra is being charged for. So these are not cheap systems and they're energy guzzlers. So when you're designing agentic platforms, as platform engineers, you need to design them, architect them well. And what the CEO kind of shared with me was, we need to make sure that our focus is, imagine an agent can go talk to your HR system, your finance system, your product catalog, your e-commerce system, everything. And if it is open and designed that way, the entire application engineering layer has to be rethought. Are we even trained for that? Are we even comfortable exposing our data? We may have PII data, proprietary data, company proprietary data, competitive advantage, which is stacked in that data. So we need to design these architectures well. And I know today we're going to have some good discussions on agentic platforms and in the panel, and then later on there are some good, earlier than that we have some good presentations on cloud native architecture. My only input would be, when you're building and thinking about these cloud native architectures powered by agentic platforms or Kubernetes engines, where Kubernetes is driven by an agent, please do understand and comprehend that is there a better way? An engineer always questions. A lazy engineer's question, right? Steve Jobs said that boredom leads to genius innovation. Because when you're bored, like good engineering should be a boring engineering, good delivery. I used to always say, a good delivery is when it's boring. Not every day firefighting and escalation. But that is a very complex thing in a large enterprise. It's not easy. And as I urge you all to focus on your presentations, my only request is to understand that people are here to learn from you all. At least the presenters, we are all here to learn and listen to you. So when you present, you have a very deep responsibility to present in a manner